wonderful listeners. This is Riley letting you know that this is part 2 of a 2-part episode. So if you haven't listened to last week's, you might want to go back and start there for context. This is also going to just jump right in, so get ready for part 2 of this episode. Thanks for listening.
I know that you recently showed up for a client and friend in a very kind way just to make them feel special too. So maybe you'll share a little bit about that slice of girlhood.
Yes, that was a very slice of girlhood day. I just got to have a lovely full day with a friend who actually we decided to do a trade, which is something as a tattoo artist that I honestly do pretty few and far between because it just doesn't typically end up feeling aligned, and I'd rather just support that person in what it is they do and, hope if they want a tattoo that they'll book one. But yeah, I just honestly learned from other people in this industry, which was nice, how that could not always be the perfect fit, but for us, she's been helping be a bit of a mentor and providing some lessons with me and my equine, and been working toward eventually getting a tattoo, which was also such an aligned tattoo because she wanted a grassy arm wrap, which it's special because she and I are neighbors, and so all of the grass that I used and was inspired by, I went and harvested out in our back pasture. And so all of the grass is from our property that I think of it as like we share. And we had a lovely day. I baked her a loaf of sourdough the night before, so it was ready in the morning to go, and just made a little package with some seeds actually from Riley's beautiful shop that she was working at, which we love these seed packets because they're also such beautiful little pieces of art. Riley, what's the brand? Is it Hudson Valley or is that different?
Yeah, Hudson Valley Seed Co.
They're so cool. Talk about collage material. I was like, here are the seeds. I will be asking for the package back. No, but anyway, so just made a little gift with that and some eggs and a card from Sean and I, and then decided I had just heard from her that she in life was having some decision fatigue, and made sure that she was on board with this stuff, but just helped her make some decisions and picked her up, and we went to the tattoo studio and got to have a delicious treat from the cafe next door. So we each had a coffee and a little baked good, and got to build her free-handed flowing grass sleeve and tattoo, and just have a really special day full of being held in a container of girlhood. Also, it was so fun because all of the other people that were in my shop, all of the other artists I work with are women, and we had all women clients, and we were just all so excited about what everyone was doing, and that's something that's really special and feels like a very sacred sisterhood moment always, honestly, being in that shop. So that's something I feel very fortunate and lucky to be able to share with clients and others when they come in. We might be a little more than some people could handle because we are very sappy and very sweet and loved up, and we are just being honest to how we feel, but maybe some people are not quite as heart forward, but we just are living in our truths.
I do think that it is like a false conflation to act like professionalism is equal to like coldness. And I think that comes from a corporate toxic masculinity space that I'm like, we can interact on a professional level and have like that level of respect maintained between us without me making it feel like this has to be a cold and sterile interaction. We're people. The warmth that I would have with a stranger at a grocery store, I feel like I should be able to carry into the workplace. It's the whole, also, exclamation points are not professional in emails. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're offended by an exclamation point. I think we can reel that in. I am allowed to use the tools available to me in my keyboard toolkit to show you that I am saying this with kindness and not trying to just be curt. That I think that women modeling leadership in also a nurturing way, and I know for some women they feel like, oh, I hate feeling like feminine means like I am nurturing or mothering, and that can feel like a negative thing, but to me that is a huge asset that we come in a lot of ways pre-programmed with, is the desire to create a warmth and a safe space for other people. That's a beautiful, special thing.
It so is, and it's like another callback to The Serviceberry by Robin Wall Kimmerer, talking about the gift economy and creating those environments with people where you're not putting out love and good with the expectation of that to be returned, but it is with the knowing that good things being put out does bring good things in, and when you put them out there and you're thinking about them, you also are available to look for them and accept them. And even something so simple as my friend and I was getting her, working hard on her tattoo, and one of the other artists helped me by, I usually am someone who, we have a lovely little sink area with dishes that we reuse, and so we had a couple of cups from the cafe that of course I was going to get to and clean up, but we were working hard at chipping away at that piece, and she came and was engaging in conversation with us and did those dishes, and clearly did not have to but chose to, and just like took that off of my plate. Even a thing like that can seem so little, but after a full day of tattooing, that was already done and taken care of, and that type of stuff just touches the heart and makes such a difference. So yeah, that was a really special day, and it feels really good to put a lot of intentional love and care toward someone and feel like, I don't know, that's definitely, maybe it's an individual thing and a love language thing, but I think you and I, being twins, just have such a natural sense about us, and maybe it's the womanhood part of it too, but really our twinhood has informed the way our sisterhood works in very expansive ways in our life. And I think we tried to be mindful of where the steps and boundaries are, because Riley and I are both people that have personal boundaries with our space and with our time, where it doesn't feel, I think we're pretty intuitive about not overdoing, like we need to be with friends every single day or anything like that, where it's just an intensity and expectation heavily on friendships. But when we are in those moments and take those opportunities, I think that for us it feels really good and fulfilling to be giving and nurturing, which is why our birthday is one of our favorite days of the year, because we just to each other as like me to you, you to me, and really just us, the synergy of the collective. We just pour into each other. But let's not lie, is that really just our birthday? No. It's not, but our birthday we get to go the extra mile.
Yeah, our birthday is so much fun, and I agree. I just love the experience with others, and I think you can model that with people, and I feel it reflected back to me when I'm able to show up this way of what do we always talk about that we care? Practicing presence, showing that I am present in this moment with you. Not only does that feel really good and affirming for the other person, but that is also just your anxiety and stress melts away when you are being present with another person in general, of course. It's really hard to like have the anxieties and worries of daily life because you are just focusing on that time spent and that conversation and whatnot. It's not the noise in your mind wandering. A lot of the times we do talk about and focus on the individual practice and spending the time meditating and alone and getting a grip yourself on it. But something that I think is so important is the social aspect of that. No wonder it's so much fun to go and play with your friends and hang out with people because you're just in the moment with them, and it's not this space where you're letting all these other things creep in. So I'm grateful for friends that make the time fly, and I can't wait to be in Colorado with you soon so we get to share more of those in-person moments together, because it has been a very just different bodily feeling from Quinn and I growing up, being together most hours of the day. Not every hour, but certainly most. And then in high school, having more different classes, we're still touching base, but we're not together as frequently. And then things just really derailed. Just kidding.
Derailed.
Our relationship is not derailed. Really. But my body, I think it was. I've talked about this in the last episode as well, how I felt like out of place and my body was not aligned with my spirit. And I'm sure that part of that is location-wise. And a big part of it was being like, my little soul developed alongside my twins. It was not really prepared for a yanking apart, and we can and will navigate it. But I think that again with this move, I felt so much more peace because my spirit is like, I've been crawling towards Quinn forever now anyway, so that feels in alignment for me.
I like your little ocean floor crawler spirit.
It is. It's been yanking.
Yeah, me too. It has caused some serious at times breakdowns. Me in the airport just actually each time walking through the already such embarrassing security at your airport, where I am sorry, that is a vindictive airport. Yeah, like they are, for being so small and so slow. I'm like, wow, you guys are really, really serious. I
wonder if it's proximity to the capital. I've always wondered.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I can understand, like, it's your job. I'm not blaming the individuals. I will say I asked the agent who you hand your ID to and who does the initial, like the first person that you need to pass that's a contact point when you're walking into security, when I was at your airport last, and I asked to opt out of the photos because you can. I understand that there is surveillance all over, and I don't know if it's really worth it, but you don't have to get those photos. And I asked to opt out, and he seriously sighed and rolled his eyes and was like, give me your ID. And I gave him my ID. I am telling you, he took as long as he possibly could. He was just putting out the most like angry, irritated, upset vibe with me, and took so long holding me up and holding my ID to just for, I'm sorry, like, I don't want to make assumptions and be a problematic, low vibrational gal, but it was so clear that he was just so pissed that I asked for a thing I could do, and he took, I can't tell you how long he stood there looking at me and my ID and back at me, my ID, holding it, holding it, holding it. Like, I seriously, it took a couple of minutes of him holding my ID before he chose to let me go. I'm like,
Well,
weird power play,
that's
but okay.
unfortunate. Must have been having a bad day. I will say that did not happen to me recently when I traveled there and I said I would like to opt out of the photo. They were like, okay, put your ID in, and it was not like that, so it's unfortunate and not girlhood vibes.
No,
Everyone
he
should
was not in the
embrace.
sisterhood.
Yeah, we need to embrace the sisterhood, and I think that when I think of the term, when it's been thrown around more recently of whether or not that's girl code, and I don't think that girl code is by following certain rules. I think that it's by leading with love and compassion and empathy. I think that there's never like a cut and dry rule that you should or shouldn't follow, and that's what makes you a good friend. I think that we
Mm-hmm.
know inside when we are being in alignment with being a good friend and a good person and when we're not. And no one among us is infallible in that way, but I have always loved and admired and looked up to my mom's friendships that she has with the other adult women, because they are not like, oh, we hold each other to this standard of perfection, but the way that they interact with each other is with so much dignity and compassion and just showing up to be there for each other and hear the troubles and have a good times and just showing up authentically. And that's what I want to cultivate around me, and feel so blessed that I already feel like I have at least a couple people, and honestly more. Just hearing this with my coworkers, I'm like, wow, oh my gosh, like there's so many people around me that even if we're not as close on a hanging out level, that I feel solid around, and that is a lucky thing. But then I have those extra special people too, and what a blessing. I feel like Quinn and I talk about our tight but small circle frequently, and Quinn said that even our dad brought that up for him personally, and I think that just tends to be a really good community structure, is being on good terms with as many people as possible, but having your solid set of confidants.
Yeah. That's I'm navigating this space of bringing more friends in and letting it be a thing where it's like we can just do something like a quick coffee date or a walk around the block. I'm actually having 3+ separate friend hangs this week, which, whoa,
Whoa.
crazy. Um, but a couple are friends that are just like they're not usually hangout friends, but just pleasant people in my life, and I'm excited about bringing that on in a way that just feels like, yeah, we can be here and support each other and do catch-ups, and they're less expectation. Not that friendships should be expectation driven, but of course there's going to be some friends where it's like, yeah, let's really with more frequency try to be really leaning on each other and involved and having time to really dig into the big life stuff and whatever. But I think just still letting it feel this openness and sense of community where it can be boundaried and you are able to kindly set expectations but still feel like I'm allowed to open myself to this. What really it is feeling like for me is just sisterhood, of being like, yeah, we're just like calling on each other in these different ways and into our lives. And one more girlhood experience I'll share about is that my coworker hosted for herself a lovely little Bridgerton themed tea party, and that was such a sweet thing, because as simple as it was, because it was at her house, we were all sitting around one table, and we were friends from like very different parts of her life. So like a couple people knew each other, but a lot of people, it was their first meetings, but we all did a little dress up and were having tea and little finger sandwiches, and that's what I made deviled eggs for. And it just felt so one of those creative, rejuvenating, fun and kind experiences where we were coming or all gathering around a person that we share so much love and care for, but it was not feeling like this expectation of, I don't know, it was just, I think that sometimes going into social events, I know I have felt a lot of anxiety, and like you need to kind of really bring your best, and it's almost can feel like performative at times, and I really let that hangout just feel like, oh, you're getting to know just a bit and piece of different people in this shared space, and it actually can be pretty relaxing in the right environment, and doesn't really have to be this big energy putting forth. It actually, even though it was quite a few, I mean, I don't know if it was 10 of us total, but it still felt like an energy recharge, not an energy drain.
I love that.
And that's coming from a girl who loves to be alone and have my at-home me time mostly.
I want to embrace that too, and just not feeling so tied to identity, like, are you an introvert or extrovert in those things? You can know kind of your experience when you navigate the world, but like we have said, you don't have to just be like, this is how I experience those things. I have definitely a tendency to feel like multiple person social event can end up feeling draining, but I want to reclaim more of my energy around that and take ownership for, okay, is that because it's actually an energy drain, or because my anxiety around it causes that feeling? And if I can tap more into being centered and authentic and just showing up how I would to hang out with a friend one-on-one, that doesn't feel draining to me. Why does that have to be different? It's because, there's the people that you don't know, and you feel like you're introducing yourself and you're not necessarily maybe just being natural. And I think that that's personal work that I want to do more of, to feel like I can show up in that way, whether there's 100 people in the room or one. And I know it's not going to be cut and dry, but I like to be working towards that.
I love that sentiment, and I think that we can all learn just about our energy more, and that's something I'm really excited to. I'm very much at the beginning stages, but starting to really investigate more how to protect my energy and be very giving and kind and showing up being who I want to be, but also how to make not the feeling of putting up a wall, but a little bit of a bubble at times when my energy does need to be preserved and I don't need to let certain stuff in. So I'm excited to learn on that journey, and actually one of the friends that I'm meeting up with this week that's one of her big focuses is teaching about energy, and I'll be interested to see if our conversation leads down that road at all. But we appreciate all of you sisterhood listeners, even the brotherhood out there. We appreciate you as well. And even if you don't put yourself in the category of being a sister or part of the girlhood experience, I think that it's special to get to hear about it and I love you, Riley.
You're a sister to us. We see you as a sister. I love you too, twin. We will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.